Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Elise and today we're going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag and I hope you're all doing so good today. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. There are 11 questions and I have them like down here, so if you see me looking down there, that's what I'm doing. This was originally created by Brenda C. I'll link them in the description box. And the first question is, why did you start this channel? And I think, I don't know, maybe like most people who are on Booktube, I think the main reason is that I just want to be able to talk about books with people. So I have a few people in my life who read a lot, but it's like one or two. And the amount that I read, which is like, this year I'll probably read like about 100 books. Not a lot of people want to hear me talk about that many books and want to like have conversations about them. So this is really just a way for me to be able to chat about books more with people than just like the few people I have in my real life. The second question is, what are some of the fun and unique things you think you can bring to YouTube? And this is hard because I don't think I'm gonna bring anything super new. I don't know if I'm like the creator that's gonna come up with like amazing cool new ideas, but I do think that one, me just being slightly older than probably the majority of booktubers might be something that's slightly unique and might say a little bit about like my reading tastes, and I think that also just my unique taste is like something that each person brings to Booktube. So I read a wide variety of stuff, and I know a lot of people do, but I think I read a good mix, almost like a 50-50 mix of like literary contemporary fiction and then like genre fiction. So it's about 50-50 between the two of them. And I'm hoping that will be somewhat unique for people. I know there's a few other booktubers that I watch that read similarly. So I think that will be unique. And the other thing is I do really want to have an emphasis on publishers on my channel. So I have plans for like a few series basically related to certain types of publishers. So that will be upcoming soon. And then I do also just want to be really intentional about mentioning the publishers on my channel, because I do feel like that can be a piece that's missed of like, you know, talking about the books and the authors, but not as often talking about the publishers that are coming out with these works. So I think those are maybe the things that aren't new by any means, but are just unique to me and gonna be like, you know, slight different variations from other people that you would be watching. Thirdly is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? And I think this goes back to like, I'm just excited to talk about books. So I love chatting about books with people. I just want to talk to people in the comments, want to see what they're reading, what they're recommending, want to have conversations about the books that I'm reading. So that is the main thing. A little side note is that I have had to learn how to edit. I mean like the bare bones editing, and that has been kind of fun, more fun than I thought it would be. So I've been enjoying learning that process as well. I will never be like a crazy mega editor. Like some people are so good at it. I will not be that, but I have enjoyed learning like the essentials so far. Fourth question is, why do you love reading? Such a deep, rich question. I think like most people maybe that enjoy reading, I just love stories. I love storytelling in general. I'm also in a field of work that is like heavily focused around stories as well. I just like learning and experiencing other perspectives, going on adventures, really like feeling deeply things. I'm like a super feeler. I love deep, big feelings, and reading is another way for me to experience that. And it's like an intentional time and space where I get to kind of decide to open myself up and go on these journeys and experiences with people. So I think that's the main reason. I do also, like, at this point I would maybe consider myself a collector, and that I just love looking at the books. I love seeing them, and they bring me joy to see them. So I think that's a part of like the hobby for me as well. Is like I like thinking about the books I want to read, going book shopping, collecting the books, and then reading them. Question number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? So, I mean, this is Harry Potter, or She Who Will Not Be Named. If I were to say something else, it would be a lie. That is what got me into reading. Those were coming out when I was in elementary school, and they definitely got me into reading. I've never been that excited about a new book coming out as when that series was coming out. So that is the main one. Question number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Ooh, that's hard. What questions would I ask them? I don't know if I would really have a lot of questions. I would just want to chat with them about books, probably. But I think a question would be like, I don't know, what are some ways that you come up with new ideas for videos? Might be a question that I would ask. I'm still pretty new, so I don't think I'm in a place where I'm like running out of ideas yet, but I'm assuming that time might come. So how to come up with new like creative ideas, and then just like wanting to know like what are their favorite videos that they've ever filmed and why are those their favorites, and see what they say. But yeah, I think that's what I would ask. Next question is 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? This I'm not really sure. I think if I had to anticipate any challenges further down the road, it would be consistency, and like how do people post on a consistent basis, and maybe some people don't, and I don't know, maybe I'll be one of those people, who knows. But right now I'm posting twice a week, and I can imagine that at times that becomes really hard to take the time out to do that. So yeah, curious about how people manage that and stay consistent, or if they just kind of like let it go, and if they don't post a certain amount in a week or don't post in a week at all, it just doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that's what I'm anticipating, is the consistency of it. And then 8 is, when did you start reading? And I was reading when I was younger, but I wouldn't say I was a ferocious reader at all when I was younger. I sort of dabbled in and out of reading as I was growing up, and I loved reading for school. English was always my favorite subject, but I wasn't like constantly reading. Like I would get sucked into things for like a moment and then not read for a long period of time. So I would say when I started reading more consistently and like the higher volume of reading was probably like 4 years ago, when I really got back into reading, and the volume started to go up a lot. So yeah, about 4 years ago. Question number 9 is, where do you read? And I do read a variety of places, but I would say the number one place I read is on my couch. I'm not the biggest reader in bed. I will read in bed, but I read on my couch much more often than I would read in bed. And then I do also like reading outside, but that's probably more rare as well. So on my couch is probably the number one place that I'm reading. And then 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but if you look at my story graph, it would say that I mostly read literary fiction or contemporary fiction, and then the rest is kind of divided up into certain genres. But I would say the highest genres, well, let's just see what it says. The highest genres that it says that I read are mystery, romance, poetry, and short story collections are the next 4 highest, other than contemporary / literary fiction. So that is mainly what I'm reading on a given basis. There's like lots of other categories on there that I have a fewer amount that I'm still reading, but not as high as those genres. And then the last question is, what does your book collection look like? And you can see, I mean, I'm in front of a lot of books here, but this area is, so like this row and then the second row, plus the very top box right there, those are all my partner's books. So those are not mine. Those are all theirs. And then my collection is all of this row, and this row. And then plus you see these two over here. And then over here, there's another one up top that has my books on it. The one down here has other things. So there's this one, these two, and then kind of mostly the three over here. But here's the thing, and this is where people are gonna freak out, I already know. These books that I have out here is just my TBR. Yeah, just my TBR. So they don't account for any of my read books. I keep those in a separate place. And I also keep other books in that are like half TBR, half read in another place. So this is like my main TBR. It's a lot of books. I hope my partner never finds out. But I'm okay with that. I know some people hate having a huge TBR. I'm not one of those people. I love having a huge TBR. I love being able to look at all the books that I potentially have to read. And that's partly why I have them out in our living room, because they're the ones that I want to be seeing most often, so I'll want to pick them up. And the other thing is, like, these, they're all double stacked. So there's 2 rows of books in like all of those. You can see even here, like I have like piles on top of them. So it's a lot of books. I would guess like it's probably over 200 books that are on my TBR. They're like my physically owned TBR. So that's my TBR collection. And then I have my read in a different location, and then a smaller selection of like a jumble of books in a third location. So I have a lot of books. That's for sure. But yeah, that's the last question of the tag. If you just started a channel and you're watching this, please comment down below and let me know what your experience has been like. If you've been interested in starting one, let me know and we can chat about that as well. Yeah, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.